Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the SEMA Strategic Case Study May and August 2021 pre-scene initial reading segment number 3. This segment is going to be on the company, which is known as Arfield, ARRFIELD, and we have almost 11 pages worth of content that is dedicated to what our company involves. Let me quickly remind you, the pre-scene itself will remind you that you are appointed as a senior manager. But let's start reading. Arfield is a quoted company that owns and operates 6 major airports, 4 in its home country and 2 overseas. And you are a senior manager in Arfield's finance function. You report directly to the board and advise on special projects and strategic matters. Arfield is based in Noland, a developed country that has an active and well-regulated stock exchange. So, as usual, Noland is a developed country with an active and well-regulated stock exchange. Noland's currency is the N dollar. Noland requires companies to prepare their financial statements in accordance with international financial reporting standards. Noland is a large country that is surrounded by the sea. All right, that's interesting, which means that obviously for flight operations, there's going to be a lot of opportunity. All right, now let's focus on our company, Arfield. We have a little bit of history here. Arfield was founded in 1980 when Noland's government privatized its airports. Previously, the government had owned all large airports in the country. The company initially acquired Capital City International Airport, which was already one of the world's largest airports for both passenger numbers and cargo handling. CCI grew steadily under Arfield's management. In 2005, the airport built a 4th terminal building to supplement the 3 existing terminals. The new terminal was leased in its entirety to NoFly, Noland's largest airline. All right. So started in 1980. By 2005, we have 4 terminal buildings. One is entirely leased to NoFly. Capital City is Noland's capital and is a major population center. It is an important financial center and is home to many multinational corporations and banks. It is also a popular tourist destination. There is strong demand for flights to Capital City. So Capital City seems to be a very important place for us. CCI reached its limits in terms of operating capacity in 2002. It issued slots to enable airlines to continue their existing services. No new slots have been available since then. Airlines wishing to create new flights from CCI must either reallocate their existing slots or buy additional slots on the open market if someone else is selling their existing slots. Arfield has also expanded through the acquisition of existing airports. The largest of these is Capital City MAX, CCM, which was acquired in 1994. That was a controversial acquisition because CCI and CCM are the only major hub airports serving Capital City. There are other airports that serve the city, but they are non-hub airports and are in less convenient locations for travelers. Arfield is Noland's largest airport company when measured in terms of revenue and also total number of flights. It is the only company serving Capital City with hub airport services. So Arfield is Noland's largest, which seems to be a major competitive point in advantage for them. Both in terms of revenue and also number of flights, and the only company serving Capital City with hubs. So we own all the hubs in Capital City. That seems to be the case. Interesting. Arfield's closest competitor is Skylane, which owns Skylane Capital City Airport, a non-hub airport 80 kilometers from Capital City, and 2 hub airports in other parts of Noland. So clearly, it seems like we own both or all the hubs in Capital City, whereas our closest competitor owns 2 hubs in other parts of Noland, not in Capital City. Airfield now owns and operates a total of 6 airports. So hub airports serving capital city in Noland. So I think we can categorize them into 3 categories. Hubs in capital city, non-hubs in capital city, hubs in other parts of Noland. Those are the 3 segments. Let's take a look. First, there are 2 hubs in capital city in Noland. Capital City International CCI, which is what I will use to call it from this point onwards, and CCM, Capital City Max. Both are hubs in Noland and in capital city. Located 50 kilometers to the northeast of capital city, Noland's largest city, CCI has 2 runways, 4 passenger terminals. The airport is a hub for no-fly, which leases the whole of CCI's Terminal 4. A total of 70 airlines fly from CCI. CCI is one of the 5 largest airports in the world when measured by passenger numbers. It is also one of the world's largest cargo airports when measured in terms of tonnage shipped. So basically we own one of the largest airports in the world. CCM, located 60 kilometers to the south of capital city, CCM has 2 runways and 2 passenger terminals. The airport is a hub for no-fly and for the airline in Air Farland. A total of 58 airlines fly from CCM. Little smaller than CCI then, yes, but it is also one of the world's 10 largest airports by passenger numbers and by tonnage of freight. So CCI is one of the 5 largest, CCM one of the world's 10 largest. Then we have a non-hub airport in capital city, CCB, Capital City Business, which is located 9 kilometers from capital city's business district on the city outskirts. CCB has 1 runway and 1 passenger terminal. A total of 37 airlines fly from CCB. CCB is a relatively small airport with a short runway and apron facilities that can accommodate small business jets with a capacity of up to 100 passengers. It provides short-haul services to several major hub airports. The size of the airport and its proximity to the business center of capital city make it popular with business travelers. Journey times to and from their offices are short, and the small terminal allows them to arrive at the airport only 40 minutes before boarding and still catch their flights. CCB's cargo handling facilities are designed to support courier operations. So CCB seems to be a small one, 37 airlines fly from there, mostly centric toward business requirements and also supports courier operations. Then we have 3 hub airports serving other parts. No, we have 1 hub airport serving other parts of Noland, which is Hope City International, HCI. This is located 40 kilometers from the center of Hope City, Noland's second largest city. Hope is 800 kilometers from capital city. HCI has 2 runways and 2 passenger terminals. The airport is a hub for no-fly and also for the airline Air Estworld. A total of 52 airlines fly from HCI, so it's a hub, fair enough. HCI is one of the 20 largest airports in the world in terms of both passenger numbers and tonnage of freight shipped. So we seem to be owning a lot of big airports, right? CCI, CCM and HCI, which is a hub in a different part of Noland. So that is what we have in Noland. Do we have anything outside of Noland? Yes, we do. We own 2 hub airports outside of Noland, one in Estland and the other in Farland. So in Estland, we have Majorlink International, MLI, Majorlink International, located close to Major City, the capital of Estland, approximately 1,800 kilometers from capital city and on the other side of the Noland Sea. Estland is a country that went through a period of economic and political transformation in the 1990s. During that period, a number of multinational companies made significant investments in the country in order to benefit from its growing economy and increasing political stability. Airfield purchased MLI in 1998. MLI has 3 runways and 3 passenger terminals. It is slightly larger than CCI in terms of capacity. Right, so MLI is actually larger in terms of capacity. There is no indication to how many flights it services or how many airlines, But MLI is a main base for Air Est World, which operates a frequent service to HCI, Hope City International, in addition to its global network of flights. Then we have our sixth hub airport outside of Noland, Prairie Bird International, PBI, that is located in Farland. This is located on the outskirts of Farland's Prairie Bird city, approximately 6,000 kilometers from capital city. PBI is one of the largest airports in Farland. PBI has 2 runways and 2 passenger terminals. PBI is a major passenger and freight hub serving intercontinental services to and from Farland. PBI is a main base for Kapan Air, which offers flights across Farland and to the other countries in the Farlandian continent. Kapan Air, NoFly and Air Farland all offer regular flights between CCM and PBI. So altogether, we seem to have 2 hubs in capital city, 1 non-hub in capital city, 1 hub in Noland outside of capital city, which is in Hope City, and 2 hubs outside of Noland, 1 in Estland, 1 in Farland, with a good profile for each airport individually. Both freight aspect and both passenger aspects are all being serviced from all the 6 airports. Seem to be very interesting profile and a very strong profile, mind you. We have an image snapshot. Arfield Airport serving Noland. So here we have capital cities, CCI, CCM, which are hubs, and CCB non-hubs. We have 1 hub outside of capital city at Hope City, 1 in Farland, which is a hub, another in Estland, which is another hub. Altogether, we have 6 airports, 4 in Noland, 1 in Farland, 1 in Estland. So this seems to be a very strong position as an airport. Let's try and understand the rest of the story. Arfield's board operates out of a head office that is located in a building on the perimeter of CCI. Each airport has its own management team that is responsible for all operational matters. So each airport has its own team. We probably operate at this head office located in the building on the perimeter of CCI. The airports are all heavily dependent on their IT systems. Apart from the usual corporate requirements such as financial record keeping, the IT systems support a host of operational activities including managing passenger baggage, scheduling gates so that arriving and departing aircraft can disembark and embark their passengers without delays, managing the electronic locks on all lockable doors. For example, a sales assistant at an airport retailer might be permitted to enter the retailer's storeroom but would be denied access to an exterior door. So basically, accessibility and airport security functioning together through electronic locks. So you only can enter through locks that your key card has access to. Airport managers aim to maintain good relations with the airlines that they serve and that may require cooperation between different airport management teams. For example, the management teams of both CCM and PBI will work together to assist NoFly if it encounters a delay or other problem in a flight between the 2 airports. The airport management teams must also work closely with regulators such as the Noland Air Traffic Control Service. Inefficiency on the ground can lead to delays in taking off, which we've understood when we read about air traffic control, which can disrupt the schedule for the safe and efficient use of airspace. Arfield's airports charge for aeronautical and non-aeronautical services, including commissions taken from retailers in their home currencies. So $N for CCI, CCM, CCB and HCI, all the airports in Noland, $E for MLI and $F for PBI. So very important point here is with respect to currency risk. Right, you know that currency risks are of 3 types. Mainly you've got translation and transaction risks. We seem to be a company that is exposed to currency risk because of the way we operate by charging 3 currencies or charging the home currency in the respective countries. So ensure you revise and touch on that aspect of financial strategy. Each of Airfield's airports is a significant business in its own right, and each has its own management team. The board at head office reviews performance reports but are generally in close contact with the senior managers of the airports. The airport managers have considerable discretion, including budgets for capital expenditure, although major investments such as an expansion to a terminal building would be discussed and approved by the board. So the individual airport teams, management teams with the managers have a lot of freedom, including capex, but major investments like expansions, you have to get them approved by the board. Fairly obvious. At an operational level, the airport managers in middle and even junior positions are expected to deal with problems quickly and efficiently, and they are empowered to do so. For example, a terminal duty manager has the discretion to authorize large amounts of staff overtime in order to assist delayed passengers or repair malfunctioning equipment that would disrupt schedules. So again, even at the operational level, the middle management and the junior operators, junior managers, junior team have a lot of freedom, but they also need to escalate very fast if they come across something that they don't really have a lot of freedom to deal with. Airport ownership. Let's try and I think this lays out a little bit of history to how airport management came into play. Commercial aviation started to grow as a major industry in the late 1940s and into the 1950s. During that initial growth phase, most countries' governments created and owned the earliest airports, often by repurposing military aerodromes. Air travel and air freight were viewed as important factors in the encouragement of economic development. By the 1970s, commercial aviation was a significant industry that was regarded as capable of sustaining itself, and many governments around the world privatized their airports by selling them to companies. Most countries, including Noland, sold each airport as an independent entity. There has since been a period of consolidation in many countries, with airport operators merging and creating larger organizations. Governments are taking care to ensure that airports must compete with one another in order to ensure that they do not stifle air travel through overpricing. There are several airport operators in Noland. Airfield and Skylane are the largest, with Airfield owning 4 airports in the country, including both of the hubs that serve capital city. Skylane owns several major airports, including 2 regional hubs. There are several smaller companies, including some who own single non-hub airports. Some companies were undergoing a period of economic reconstruction when their airports were privatized. Like, for example, all of Estland's hub airports were purchased by different multinational companies when the country went through a period of economic and political transformation in the 1990s. Airfield was one of those investors, including acquiring Majorlink International in 1998. The airport serves Estland's capital. In some countries, a combination of geography and economics means that some airports remain in government ownership. For example, Poland is a large country that has numerous small airports serving their local towns and cities, as well as many large hub and non-hub airports. Most of the small airports are owned by the cities that they serve and are often operated at losses in order to attract business and leisure travelers. All of Faaland's major airports are owned and operated as commercial ventures by a range of different companies, some of which are local and others from overseas. Airfield owns Faaland's Prairie Bird International Airport, which is an important gateway for intercontinental flights to and from Faaland. So this piece just gives us a view on how commercial aviation became the self-sustaining industry today that we are invested heavily in as Arfield, as our company. We seem to have had a great start during the time when governments were privatizing airports, and we also seem to have been able to acquire some very important airports globally, especially in Estland, a major airport that is even in capacity terms bigger than CCI in 1998 was acquired, that serves Estland's capital. So that seems to be very good business. On the other end, we also own Falun's Prairie Bird International Airport, which is an important gateway that connects a lot of flights, which means passenger traffic could be very, very high. Extracts from Arfield's annual report. All right, so we have, as usual, vision, mission, and values, which are very important, which can create the base of how you approach your answers. Let's try and understand this. Vision seems to be very simple and straightforward. Arfield's vision is to be the world's best airport company. So currently, we are, I think, practically in terms of airports, we are dealing with, we are looking to compete with airports like the Dubai airport, Los Angeles, and Oman airport. These are some of the world's best airports recent times. So we are trying to compete with them. Our mission. Arfield's mission is to create sustainable growth in shareholder wealth while respecting the needs of other stakeholders, particularly our staff, our passengers, our customers, and the communities who live and work alongside us. So we seem to be taking into consideration all our stakeholders, staff, passengers, customers, and communities, and shareholders. So mission is quite stakeholder centric, which is very good. Our core values. So there are 5 core values: safety and security, delivering on promises, excellence in all things, always learning, and a we can do that approach. Okay, so about safety and security, Arfield's top priority is the safety and security of our staff, our passengers, and our customers. Fair enough. Delivering on promises. Arfield takes its financial and brand promises seriously. We deliver on the commitments that we make. Excellence in all things. Arfield pays close attention to the needs and wishes of our stakeholders, and we set high standards in order to maintain their confidence. Always learning. Arfield pays close attention to trends and changes in this fast-moving industry. We aim to be at the forefront of innovations in safe, secure, and innovative airport operations. And we can do that, which is Arfield's staff being empowered to deal with problems in a calm and constructive manner. Issues that cannot be resolved immediately must be brought to the attention of more senior managers immediately. You can't really hold on to a problem. We are looking to solve issues and problems immediately, as soon as possible. So you cannot really solve even at the junior level, at the operational level, at the tactical level. It has to be escalated. So we seem to have a very good combination that takes care of stakeholders, ensures the promises and commitments, looking at world-class delivery and excellence, and trying to continuously improve by always learning, and a very positive attitude overall. Something I suppose we can also adapt to ourselves. Brilliant. That takes me to the image of Arfield's board of directors. So we seem to have a non-executive chair. From the executive end, we have CEO, COO, Chief Operating Officer, CFO, and CCO. And we also seem to have 3 non-executive directors. Yes. So 1 chairman, 4 members in the executive team, 3 non-executive members. Let's take a look at their profiles briefly. We have Carmelieta Tant or Tante, a non-executive chairman. Carmelieta had a successful career as a marketing executive, serving as marketing director of a major quoted engineering company until she retired in 2015. She was appointed to Arfield's board in 2017. Now let's take a look at the executive board. So we seem to have altogether 4 members: Marcus Jokela, who is the Chief Executive Officer; Anna Obalou Sote, Chief Operating Officer; Romuald Marek, Chief Finance Officer; and Heng Chi Chan, Chief Commercial Officer. Let's take a look at their profiles. Marcus is an aeronautical engineer by profession. He worked in a senior technical role for an aircraft manufacturer before joining Airfield's board as Chief Operating Officer in 2012. He was promoted to Chief Executive Officer in 2016. So been with us since 2012. Anna Obalovu Sote is the Chief Operating Officer. Anna trained as a commercial pilot. She flew long-haul flights with a major airline for much of her career before being promoted to Chief Pilot. She retired from flying in 2009 and joined Airfield as Chief Operating Officer in 2017. And with that, we have Romuald Marek, Chief Financial Officer, who trained as an accountant with a major quoted travel company. He had a successful career, including several overseas assignments. He joined Airfield as Assistant Chief Finance Officer in 2015. A little bit of a maybe Assistant to Chief Financial Officer. Never heard of Assistant Chief Financial Officer before, but fair enough. So he joined as one, and before being promoted to his present role in 2018. Then we have Heng Chi Chan, Chief Commercial Officer. Heng's background is in human resource management. She has held several senior positions in human resources during her career. She joined Airfield as Head of Human Resources in 2013. She was promoted to her present position on 2017. That is the executive team. We have Marcus, CEO, Anna, Chief Operating Officer, COO, Romuald, CFO, and Heng Chi Chan, CCO. Looking at the non-executive team, we have 3 independent non-executive directors. Martin Harris, who has had a successful career in banking. He retired from full-time employment in 2018, joining Airfield as a non-executive director at that time. Then we have Hesham El Said. Hesham founded a technology company in his early 20s. He has since developed several successful businesses. He sold his business interests in 2016 and was asked to join Airfield's board as a non-executive in 2017. And we have Ana Maria Domenech Gomez. Anna joined Capital City Council. Ana Maria. So Anna joined Capital City Council, the organization responsible for managing the city, after she graduated from university with a degree in economics. She rose steadily through the organization, reaching the position of Director of Planning before her retirement in 2018. She was then invited to join Airfield's board. So here we have the 3 non-executive members: Martin Harris, Hesham, and Ana Maria, with the entire board being led by Carmelieta, who is the non-executive chairman. So if we try to look at the responsibilities of the executive team, Marcus is the lead. Anna, who is the Chief Operating Officer, handles building and facilities management, airfield operations, airport security, health and safety, repairs and maintenance. Romuald, CFO, is in charge of accounting and finance and information technology. I'm thinking that we are as the senior finance manager, that we are directly reporting to the CFO, Romuald in this case, but anyone in your exam, anyone can write to you. You might have to respond to any person here. Heng Chi Chan is in charge of marketing, human resources, customer relations, and public relations. If you look at the board committees, the independent committees, audit committee, risk committee, remuneration, and nomination. So all the 4 committees that are recommended by corporate governance exist within Airfield. Carmelieta is sitting on all the board committees. We know that there is a general understanding that it is not recommended that the chairman chairs any of these. So we hope that Carmelita here, even though she is sitting in the board committees, she is not chairing any of them. Martin Harris is sitting in the risk committee, remuneration and the nomination committee. Hesham is sitting in the audit and the risk committee. Anna Maria is sitting in audit, remuneration and the nomination teams. That is a snap of our independent, non-executive and the executive team. We seem to have a fairly strong grasp of the operations. Things are very well divided. I don't see legal here. Legal and public relations could be an aspect. Public relations is in charge, under the charge of the CCO. Maybe even legal is closely connected to that aspect, but might as well keep an eye on that side. And we can finally move on to the principal risk register. As it is generic with all the prescenes, we have 3 columns: risk theme, risk impact and risk mitigation. So on the business resilience, we have several risk impacts analyzed. The second theme is environmental. The third is health and safety. Let's take a look at the first risk theme, business resilience. So under business resilience, we seem to have 4 risk impacts identified. The first one, operations from the company's airports can be disrupted in the short term because of a wide range of external factors. For example, adverse weather conditions or equipment malfunctions. And to mitigate this, the airports have developed contingency plans that address many external threats to operations. There are backup systems in place to duplicate the functions of most key equipment. Airfields, the second risk impact. Airfields operations depend on the work done by third parties. These range from the airside contractors who refuel aircraft and supply meals for in-flight catering to the retailers who operate in the terminal buildings. So Airfield conducts stringent financial checks on all third parties who wish to operate at the airport. They also have key contractors whose activities affect flight operations, and they must pass thorough background checks before being awarded a contract. And all the third parties who operate at Airfield's airports must maintain a satisfactory standard of performance. Otherwise, they will face the cancellation of their contracts. So in all aspects, thorough background checks, stringent financial checks and contingencies to ensure that contracts would be cancelled if they fall short are in place. The third impact here is that Airfield is wholly dependent upon the airlines who use its airports for the ongoing provision of its services. So Airfield works closely with its airline customers to ensure that they are satisfied with the service that they receive. Passenger numbers are also monitored closely. The final risk theme under business resilience is Airfield depends heavily on its non-aeronautical revenues to enable it to cover all of its operating costs. How do they deal with this? It's more of a necessary situation, right, to be in, because you really can't break even with your aeronautical revenue alone. So Airfield generates revenue from a range of both aeronautical and non-aeronautical services and works closely with stakeholders who are likely these third parties who are bringing in a lot of commission-based revenue for us, who are interested in major revenue streams, retailers, caterers, etc. Then we have the second risk theme, environmental. Social concerns about the impact of air travel on the environment are threatening demand for flights. Airfield works closely with airlines to encourage the use of economical aircraft and to minimize the environmental impact of the airport's operations. On the other side, we have residents who live underneath airport flight paths who are affected by aircraft noise. So Airfield refuses to permit airlines to operate aircraft that create significant noise disturbance. All airport restrict flights between the hours of 2200 and 0600 in the morning. So there's a gap of about 8 hours where flights are not taking off, where the airport is silent. Runways are reversed halfway through each day so that residents only suffer takeoffs for a few hours at a time. So we seem to be taking noise pollution seriously, and we have taken significant measures like refusing permits to airlines who have large aircrafts with massive noise disturbance, restricting flight times, and reversing runways. To what extent these are effective, we have to learn. Health and safety is the final risk theme. The first risk impact identified is that airports are inherently dangerous places with significant hazards due to aircraft and vehicle movements and the operation of heavy equipment. All staff are required to complete safety training that is appropriate to their duties in order to deal with this. Third parties must ensure that staff are fully trained to operate any equipment and are provided with any safety equipment required for their jobs. And passes that permit access to operational areas at airfields airports will only be issued to personnel who are certified as having completed all the necessary training. So we seem to be taking security very carefully and very seriously, and we have trainings, we have access controls, and we have all these passes that allow permission that are being monitored continuously, along with ensuring that the training aspect of various operational personnel is assured and certified. And finally, we have airports, we have a risk impact that has been identified that says airports are vulnerable to criminal and terrorist activities, including theft of valuable cargo and equipment. What do we do against this? Airfields airports have strict controls to restrict access to authorized personnel. Perimeter fences are secure and subject to controls in the form of sensors and closed circuit television. All staff must always wear photographic identity badges. These restrict access to specific areas related to each person's responsibilities. So you can only enter to areas that you have access control to. Staff requiring access to sensitive areas must pass detailed background checks. So vulnerability to all kinds of criminal and terrorist activities and understanding that airports can be inherently dangerous places with exposure to significant hazards are both two major risk impacts that have been identified as far as health and safety is concerned. And that marks the end of the airfield segment, which is segment number 3 of the May and August 2021 SCS pre-scene initial reading that I do. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope by now, after having gone through the first, with this we will be looking at a different segment which is on the news stories. So after going through all these segments, you will have a very thorough understanding of what the industry and how we operate in this industry successfully, what our company is, where we operate, the kind of exposure we have globally also, because we seem to have a couple of airports outside of Norland, and our strengths, who our competitor is, the closest competitor being Skylane, and the news stories will add more context with respect to this scenario. Finally, with segment 4, you can do your financials review and understand financially where we stand. So enjoy the process. I hope you have a very thorough understanding of airfield by now. Thank you for joining the session and all the very best. Happy learning, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you soon.